Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Africa Today, where we get you the latest news and events taking place on the African scene. And we will start off with our major top stories and reports. The Democratic Republic of Congo Ministry of Public Health, Hygiene and Prevention reported a confirmed death of Ebola virus disease in the Beni Health Zone, North Kivu province. This comes barely 5 months after the end of the most recent outbreak that was detected in the same province. We have more details on this report.
One Ebola case has been recorded in the Democratic Republic of Congo 5 months after the latest epidemic of the disease in the country was declared over. A sample taken from a child was sent to Goma, the provincial capital, and was found to be positive. Teams on the ground are working to trace and monitor around 100 contacts, as well as decontaminate health facilities. In early May, the DRC declared the end of its 12th Ebola outbreak, during which 12 cases were reported, with 6 deaths and hundreds of people vaccinated. The disease had reappeared in February in an area of North Kivu between August 2018 and June 2020, experienced the largest outbreak of Ebola in the history of DRC, with 3,470 infections and 2,287 deaths. Ebola is a viral disease with fever that was first identified in Central Africa in 1976. The disease was named after a river in the Democratic Republic of Congo, then known as Zaire. Human transmission is through body fluids, with the main symptoms being fever, vomiting, bleeding, and diarrhea.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and moving on to Tigray rebels. Ethiopian troops and their allies have launched air and ground strikes against Tigray rebels in the northern region of Amhara, and growing speculation of major offensive. More details.
Ethiopian troops and their allies are waging air and ground offensive against Tigrayan rebels in the northern region of Amhara. The military operations took place in several areas of Amhara amid growing speculation of a major push by government forces against the rebels. The reports came just days after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was sworn in for a new term on Monday, vowing to stand strong and defend Ethiopia's honor despite mounting international criticism of the brutal conflict in the north of the country. Amhara federal and military officials did not respond to requests for comment about the reported offensives in the North Wollo zone and other locations. The war in northern Ethiopia erupted in November when Abiy Ahmed sent troops into Tigray to topple the regional ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, a move he said came in response to the front attacks on federal army camps. Although government forces quickly took control of Tigray cities and towns, the front recaptured most of the regions, including the capital. The conflict has since spread to the neighboring Amhara and Afar regions and triggered what the United Nations has called an immense humanitarian crisis, with hundreds of thousands of people driven into famine-like conditions.
لدينا مصير مشترك.
مصر تسلمت الرئاسة الدورية للاتحاد الإفريقي لعام 2019 وتتطلع كعادتها دوما للتعبير عن شواغل الشعوب الإفريقية الشقيقة الرامية لتحقيق الاستقرار والتقدم ودفع عجلة التنمية قدما. إذا كنتم ترغبون في تغيير وجه القارة الأفريقية، فالاتحاد الافريقي كقياده تستطيع ان تعمل وتبذل بشكل مركزي لمشروع عملاق لبناء بنيه اساسيه على مستوى القاره. انا اتصور ان الامن والاستقرار استثمار. اذا لم تستقر هذه القاره والامن فيها بمعدلاته عاليه، هذا الأمر سينعكس بالسلب علينا كلنا.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and moving on to malaria vaccine for at-risk children. The World Health Organization, WHO, is recommending widespread use of world's first malaria vaccine in what the UN Health Agency's chief described as a historic day for the decades-long battle against the deadly disease. More details.
The World Health Organization recommended that the world's first malaria vaccine should be given to children across Africa, in a move officials hope will spur stalled efforts to curb the spread of the parasitic disease. Following a meeting of the United Nations Health Agency Vaccine Advisory Group, WHO Director General spoke of a historic moment. The WHO's Africa Director said the recommendation offers a glimmer of hope for the continent, which shoulders the heaviest burden of the disease, and expect many more African children to be protected from malaria and grow into healthy adults. The WHO said its decision was based on results from ongoing research in Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi that has tracked more than 800,000 children since 2019. The malaria vaccine, known as Musicoris, was developed by GlaxoSmithKline in 1987. Still, given the extremely high burden of malaria in Africa, where the majority of the world's more than 200 million cases a year and 400,000 deaths occur, scientists say the vaccine could still have a major impact.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're glad to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former assistant to the Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon, how are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, Minister of International Cooperation, Dr. Rania Al-Mashot, said that activating the African Continental Free Trade Agreement as an integral part of achieving sustainable development. How do you read this in light of what Dr. Rania said?
It's a huge step in our efforts in Africa. You know that Egypt has free trade areas in many dimensions. First with the Arabs, 22 Arab countries, Arab free trade area. Then we have the biggest free trade area with European Union, 27 European countries. In Africa, we had before 3 small free trade areas. We belonged before to the COMESA, the Common Market of East and South Africa. During the Egyptian presidency in 2019, we succeeded to combine all the free trade areas in Africa in one big free trade area of more than 50 countries, more than 1,200 million inhabitants.
Yes.
This is the largest free trade area in the world, taking into consideration the number of population. Mm-hmm. And the importance of this, that we are marketing for Egypt, that if you produce in Egypt, whether in Suez Canal area or any area, or in Sinai now, you can export to market of 2,000 million inhabitants without paying any taxes or without facing any obstacles in the custom duties or trade obstacles.
Yes.
And I think if we can market quite well for this, Egypt will attract much more foreign direct investment for this region. Mm-hmm. As of Africa, of course, it needs a huge effort because Africa is not that developed like Europe or like the Arab world.
Yes.
And we need to, in order to make the investor keen to come to us, that we make the treatment much better. We make our life and his life better, to make him able to finish his bureaucratic requirements much more quicker. And also the banking system, we need to change the banking system to a better situation. We need to visit obstacles such as transport and obstacles like that. And Egypt is doing its best with the cooperation of the main countries in the continent. I hope we can make a story of success there. Then we can really market for our country as a country which is open to all these foreign trade areas.
Mm-hmm. Sir, do you think do you agree that Africa should capitalize?
Please raise your voice.
Do you agree that Africa should capitalize on this agreement to enhance joint cooperation between African countries and at the same time bolster e-commerce? Ambassador Bayoumi, can you hear me, sir? I think we're having a problem with the connection. We're going to go to a short break and we'll be right back.
نحن لدينا مصير مشترك.
مصر تسلمت الرئاسة الدورية للاتحاد الإفريقي لعام 2019 وتتطلع كعادتها دوما للتعبير عن شواغل الشعوب الإفريقية الشقيقة الرامية لتحقيق الاستقرار والتقدم ودفع عجلة التنمية قدما. إذا كنتم ترغبون في تغيير وجه القارة الأفريقية فالاتحاد الإفريقي كقيادة تستطيع أن تعمل وتدرس بشكل مركزي لمشروع عملاق لبناء بنية أساسية على مستوى القارة. أنا أتصور أن الأمن والاستقرار استثمار. إذا لم تستقر هذه القارة والأمن فيها بمعدلاته عالية هذا الأمر سينعكس بالسلب علينا كلنا.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and once again with our guest over the phone, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi. Ambassador Bayoumi, Egypt has a number of trade agreements that link it with 55 African states aiming to increase economic cooperation. The most recent was the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. How do you view this?
As we discussed a few moments ago, that this is very good because now instead of having the COMESA, which was a free trade area with 21 countries, now we have a huge free trade area with 55 countries in Africa. All the African countries are members. We have 1,200 million inhabitants in this market. But in order to make it a success story, we need to do much more effort than before to ameliorate the situation, to make our investors happier, to make them make all the transactions easier. And I think this is a good opportunity for Africa and for Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, sir, Egypt also seeks to have some benefit from the African Free Trade Agreement since the agreement makes the African market open to Egyptian products. Now, given its competitive prices compared to the prices of Indian and Chinese products, your comments, sir?
Yes, of course. And according to my experience in Africa, we have all the opportunity for many products, Egyptian products, and we know better than any other what suits Africa of our products. Also, we need huge imports from Africa in the field of agriculture and food security. And we have already in the pipeline many projects where we can, with the cooperation of many African countries, to produce whatever we need of agriculture products, and we can make use of this. Because, you know, Egypt is one of the largest importers of food from all over the world, especially wheat and cereals.
Yes.
So there is a sort of bilateral benefits either to Egypt or the African countries with us, taking in consideration that Egypt is the largest economy in Africa now, and we can take the lead and make stories of success in this field.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you very much, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former assistant to the Foreign Minister.
Thank you.
Many thanks for your insights, sir. And dear viewers, that brings us to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.